Okay, so what I would like to show you today is how a SCADA server, which is located on this INSYS router, which runs basically a Linux, pretty much the same like Raspberry Pi, how a SCADA server, which runs here, is configured to read an input from this little PLC and to copy it by this integrated logic in the SCADA server to an output of this SIMATIC S7 1200. So what we can see here is when I operate the switch, how the input changes here is copied by this logic. So we have the input here. The logic decides whether the value has changed and writes it to the output right here of the PLC. So let's have a look now how this is done. So to implement the logic on the SCADA server, we first have to create a new project with the Spider Control SCADA editor. We'll start the wizard, choose a SCADA web server on a target, we give it a name, put it somewhere, just take the defaults here for our project, background, foreground, and have it generated. We next go to SCADA configuration and we'll add two drivers. The first driver will be our S7 1200, so this is the protocol S7 ISO TCP. The type is compatible with the 400 and you'll need to enter the address. The rack number will be 0, slot number will be 1. And the second driver will be the Smart PLC using our HTTP based protocol. We'll also have to enter an address. So this will connect to the Smart PLC. We will just design a simple HMI using our two variables. So the first variable will be from the SIMATIC. So this will be PLC 0 for the first driver, db1.tbw0, and we'll have the second variable, which is PLC1 RT0.TI1. So this is the digital input of our Smart PLC. We'll make build and download. To download, we will use the HTTP protocol to be able to download directly to the web server. Which resides on port 8080 in this case. We'll download the project and we'll also download the driver's configuration. So we'll now have a look on the HMI which we just downloaded. Okay, so it shows over here the input, which we are already able to read out, but we have no copy function implemented so far to write it to the output. So to do this, we'll open the integrated function block description logic editor on the SCADA server and add a sheet to do so. The sheet will contain inputs and we use an output to write on an external device using an enable. So our input will be PLC1 RT0 DI1. This is our input, and we'll write that to SIMATIC PLC0 DB1 DBW0. Now, because we don't want to copy constantly the input value to the output value, we will implement a simple trigger logic which compares the current status with a safe status. To do so, we'll just copy this input value to an internal register called R200, for instance. We will take this register again as an input, R200, and make a compare of the register and the current value. We will invert this and create a trigger on the rising edge. So this is how this should do the trick. Okay, so now we're done. Go to exit, make a build and run, save it, and open our debugger, and we'll see how the logic effectively works. So we have now our SCADA server which implements some logic to copy a value from one PLC to another PLC.